Welcome back to Class on Grass Podcast, Season 2, Episode 27.
Yes, we're back at it a little bit later than possibly expected. We were planning last episode that we did, so 2 weeks ago and 2 days. We were planning on doing a podcast last week, but we posted on our Instagram about midweek that we were going to take the week off. It had been about 30 episodes since we took, 20 episodes since we took our last. It was quite a while.
Long haul.
And with school and my team ramping up a ton and Mac's team ramping up as well as your season's getting started, things are going to get complicated. So we just need a little rest before all of that stuff starts. Expecting the Zoom a little bit more this coming weekend. I am traveling again, so we will be on the Zoom. Most likely we'll be on the Zoom for all the weekends that either of us are traveling. But the Zoom isn't bad. I think it's quite good, and the content will be less choreographed and organized, but more waffle. And some of you guys probably prefer the waffle, and some of you guys probably prefer the news report. We can't please everyone, but we're trying to please as many as possible. So without further ado, let's get started with the U.S. national team, or should I say the U.S. Olympic national team, essentially the under-23s, not qualifying for the Olympics. Many critics and pundits, whatever you want to call them, really disappointed, and many fans of the U.S. really disappointed in how that went down. Disappointed in the squad selection sometimes, disappointed in how the squad played, the little errors that the squad made throughout. In general, it's just another one of those stories of the U.S. not qualifying. This was the third time in a row that the U.S. haven't qualified for the Olympics. And with the U.S. not qualifying for this past World Cup, and you never know if we're going to qualify for this coming one. I would like to think we do with the squad depth that we have, but given recent performances and circumstances, you never know. And so really the only gimme that I'm expecting for the U.S. in the next 8 years is when it's actually held in the U.S. in 2026. So we get free entry in the World Cup.
Yeah, but not even possible to not be in it.
Exactly. But did you see the comment Chicharito made from a Mexican who, the Mexico-U.S. rivalry has been big over the past, however long soccer's been played in both countries and been competitive. But Chicharito said he was really disappointed the U.S. didn't qualify. He believes that the U.S. and Mexico are very similar. They have different strengths and weaknesses about them, but they can give a lot to one another in terms of values to learn and ways to strengthen, because there is a lot of room for growth between both countries in the world of football, and he's disappointed that he couldn't see both of them in the Olympics. So huge. I think it's great coming from someone on the other side, on the other side of the rivalry, respecting and just kind of mourning the loss of your counterpart, kind of. It's kind of like, when Messi's probably a little disappointed that Ronaldo is no longer in La Liga, something like that. What do you think about that?
I mean, I didn't really understand where he was coming from, because if you ask any U.S. soccer fan, they're like, oh, if we made it to the Olympics and Mexico didn't, that would be hilarious and that would be great. I'm sure it's vice versa for a lot of fans. I was surprised that he said it, but at the same time, he's very matured and experienced. So I feel like you wouldn't hear that from anyone else probably but him, with all of his experience in those U.S.-Mexico games, and then both playing in the MLS and then also in Europe and being the top leagues.
Yeah,
I'm sure he actually
West Ham, Man United, Leverkusen.
Yeah, so I'm sure he was kind of reflecting on it, and I didn't really understand it. He said something like, oh, we learn from the U.S. and the U.S. has learned from us too, or something like that. I didn't really understand what he meant by that. But yeah, I think I was very surprised when I saw the quote. I was like, wow, that's very mature of him to say.
I just think it's good when opposite parties in a certain rivalry or disagreement or whatever, at least respect the other side. I think it's good of him, whether we know the context or not.
Well, yeah, I think
I again, like you, I'm not really sure what it is exactly that he's talking about when he says the U.S. has stuff to teach Mexico and Mexico has stuff to teach the U.S. and both have tons to learn. Like I understand both countries are nowhere near the top of the footballing industry for producing talent and doing well in international stages. Certainly in CONCACAF, both countries are clearly top two. Maybe you could put Canada above the U.S. or Mexico, but they're definitely on the come up. But I was wondering, like after reading that quote, I feel like the U.S. is developing a lot more talent right now than anyone in the CONCACAF region. You know, like Canada down to Mexico, all Central American countries, Caribbean countries, all that. I just feel like the U.S. has developed. I don't know if this is just because I focus on it a lot more. Like when I think of Mexican talent, it's like you have Chucky Lozano, Raul Jimenez, the guy from like PSV.
yeah,
I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name, but like no one else. I'm not really like thinking of anyone else.
Well, yeah, I think
And
like
Hector Herrera on Atletico Madrid,
yeah,
obviously.
that's true. Well, that's the one thing I was like saying when I saw that they lost. I was like, okay, our whole first team is U23 players.
Yeah,
So like, if people are gonna get that upset about it, why didn't we just play our best U23 team and just blow out everyone?
exactly.
Because
That's what I was thinking.
and they were like, U.S. soccer was kind of putting these random friendlies ahead of the Olympics, which is like huge and a chance to win a medal and a
Exactly.
trophy for the U.S., which we don't usually do. And
Or
I
ever.
thought it was just really poor. I think, again, it doesn't really excuse not qualifying against teams that basically all the teams except Mexico, I think, were less than our squad. Also, it's sad to see Dotson not make it. He had a great tournament, I think. Great.
Yeah, two
all of his
goals.
games. Yeah.
First two international goals for him, which was
Yeah.
really good. Obviously, we have traveled to the future and taken a picture of Hassani Dotson with the Ballon d'Or and put that on the Zoom background.
Right here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to see him doing well. Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. You know, just why couldn't you take some of our top players and bring them down for the Olympics? Because it's almost as if Greg Berhalter has said, no, I want my players to gel for the World Cup qualifiers, which we actually need to do well on. So you're not taking my players.
Yeah.
If we don't now qualify for the World Cup,
that's another 4 years without any like tournaments or anything. So.
I mean, here's the thing. I think if we qualified for the Olympics, I don't think anyone would have been mad about the selection put out.
Oh no, yeah.
And everyone would have been actually, oh, that's smart. You know, not bringing the best players in, no injuries. You get to have them play against actual good teams. Although Jamaica literally had a 56-year-old guy playing center mid when we played against them. Like, did you see that? It was crazy. Yeah, I look in the One Football app, and he said he was like 52 in 160 days or something like that. I was like, what is this guy doing in the midfield? And then they sub on this number 6 guy, and like from the 8th tier of English football comes.
Well, yeah, Jamaica is like a lot of English players are actually going to Jamaica, with Mikel Antonio, I think, just did it.
Jamal Lowe, Mikel Antonio, Andre Gray, De Cordova-Reid. Leon Bailey is Jamaican.
Actually, yes. So like they have a decent.
None of them were there except for Jamal Lowe.
Yeah, but like they have a decent squad, to be honest.
Yeah, they Wes Morgan, although he might not even be in the team anymore because he's really
Andre
old.
Blake. Goal is pretty good.
He's from the MLS, isn't he? New York City. Where is he from?
Philadelphia
Union. That's what it is. Yeah. But yeah, they have a good selection of players. They were not playing all of them. It was clear. No. I looked at the squad. Probably half of them or a third of them would actually be in the Jamaica squad. Mm-hmm. It was 8 championship players, EFL championship players, a lot of championship players. I was really surprised. 1 Premier League player. He was from Fulham. I don't know if you know who he was.
Yeah, Hector or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever gets minutes. But
I don't think so.
So 8 championship, 1 Premier League, and then the other 2 literally weren't like it was the 52-year-old who didn't have a team, and then this dude who subbed in who played in the 8th tier of English football.
Yeah.
So we beat them by, I don't remember the exact score, but it was by a good margin.
Yeah.
And Dest scored an unbelievable goal. So I have no problems with our actual national team. I just think we should have done a little bit better with the Olympic squad. But we do have to move on to more stuff that happened during the international break. It's one of those times where it just feels like so much there's so many games that happen in such a short period of time that you see so much. But one of the not highlights, the lowlights for me personally of watching the international break was seeing that Timo Werner still is waiting for his shooting boots to arrive in the mail, as he missed another really, really good chance to beat North Macedonia to tie North Macedonia 2-2. And North Macedonia actually went on to win that game 2-1, as Timo didn't put that late chance away when he was 6 yards out, and the only one with the keeper, and the keeper was not even in position.
Yeah. Well, did you see the Thomas Tuchel quote about, he said, I believe it was after that miss, and he was questioned about it, and he said, Werner always wants to stay and do more shooting practice and everything, and then Tuchel says no and doesn't let him do that because he says, like,
I remember this.
You're born with shooting. You've been shooting and scoring since 6 years old. Like, it's just gone right now, but it will come back, and you can't like force it. Or
you look at Timo. His problem isn't his technique. It's not how he can shoot the ball.
Yeah,
it's none of that. It's all in his head. It's entirely mental.
That's the lowest confidence I've seen in a player.
Yeah,
and it's so visible.
It's so visible. You can tell. He
Body
can
language.
Be so good, but you can even tell that ball's coming to him, and he's thinking, "Don't miss." Not let's bury this.
Yeah.
Not let's bury this. It's like, "Don't miss, don't miss, don't miss," and then it literally just like he does what, like, no offense to Timo Werner, but when you're watching a JV soccer game and the kid gets subbed on and he's running down the side,
it goes through the legs.
It goes kind of through his legs, and you're like, oh. And like even in a JV soccer game, you're like, that should have been buried.
And he could have used his right.
Yeah,
but he's left-footed, right?
Or
is he right-footed?
He's right-footed. He's right. He's right-footed. He used his left, and he could have used his right. But still, I mean, it shouldn't matter.
And then he had that assist to Mount in the West Brom game where he was literally, it was a cross, no defenders around him, one-on-one with the goalie, like 10 yards out, and then he cuts back and doesn't shoot and passes it to Mount and he scores. It's like, all right, that's zero confidence right there.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like Germany in general, even without Timo Werner, even you put Timo Werner in there, he does nothing. They should still be beating North Macedonia, one of the smallest countries like ever, and their only player, surprised they even produced any good players. They have a few, that Barty guy in La Liga, he's an attacking mid.
No,
he's pretty good. They have a few other La Liga players, and then they have Alioski who plays on.
Oh yeah,
but still, like Germany are one of the best national teams in the world. They have to. So, as I know it right now, the World Cup qualifiers for Europe go top of the group gets to go to the World Cup, and then the last four do a playoff.
Yeah.
So there's 5 in the group.
Yeah, I think so.
If Germany have to do a playoff, and then they don't make that,
and then lose to some other
San Marino,
South Macedonia.
Yeah.
Then there's trouble. So.
Yeah, moving on to more in the international break. Did you watch the England versus San Marino game? I did not. I only watched the Poland one.
Yes, I did actually.
So yeah, England, they won 4-0.
James Ward-Prowse with the goal.
Didn't Southgate play like 5 midfielders, 5 center defensive midfielders in that game? Like Calvin Phillips.
I don't know if it was that game. The next game he benched Ward-Prowse after having a great performance and played Phillips, Rice, and
Eric Dyer.
Another center. He had 3 defensive midfielders and no attacking. Like it was just.
No, I think he had 3 defensive midfielders and then Eric Dyer in the back, who's still a defensive midfielder. So it was like 4 defensive midfielders in the lineup. It's like, what's going on here? And then, they won 4-0 against San Marino. I don't recall their middle game. It's hard to keep up with everything in international.
And leaves Trent out of the squad.
Oh, yes.
That was a big talking point.
Zeke did talk about this in his article. He thinks he's going to be back for the Euros. clearly put in a good performance to show that he is a bit angry against Arsenal.
Yeah.
But today in the Champions League did not reflect that. So not sure
Yeah.
what's going to happen there.
I think it is just, I mean, it is his defense is just getting exposed right now.
Yeah.
I think when Liverpool were better and they weren't getting, like, the other team wasn't attacking them as much, I think it wasn't as obvious. But now that all of their games are pretty even, I think he is getting exposed a lot more, and
Yeah.
people are seeing that.
Just like you say, it's I don't think it's a change in his game at all. So I don't
No.
think Gareth Southgate should base his opinion off of that. I think whatever Gareth Southgate's opinion on Trent is should stay the same. It's just that Liverpool's defense are so weak now, and I think everyone can agree that Trent's defending is pretty low compared to other Premier League fullbacks. He does not have defensive capabilities of a world-class fullback, but his offensive capabilities are incredible. He's always going to have that. So that's why you take him, and you shouldn't. I don't think Gareth Southgate should be basing it off of that. But again, it kind of has to because that's how a national team works. So if you're doing well, then you get called up. If you're not, then you don't. And Liverpool and pretty much everyone on Liverpool right now aren't doing well.
Well, yeah, and also it's
except for
going to
Diego
be
Jota.
Yeah, well, it's going to be very interesting to see with the Euro squad if, like, Madison, Grealish, if those type of players, like, get left out because of Lingard or someone who's playing unbelievable. Because Southgate really likes Lingard. So, like, it's going to be a shame if, like, someone like Madison, who's had a very decent season.
He's had injuries still.
He's dropped in form recently. And then Lingard finishes out the season very well. I could see him just not making the squad, and Lingard, who's just come back to life, he deserves it with his form. But I think, like, if he loses that form, I don't know. He might go back to, like, the player he was.
Yeah, the only players that I see pretty solidified in this team are Harry Maguire, John Stones, Declan Rice, and Harry Kane. Those are the only four.
Sterling's pretty. I think Southgate likes Sterling.
I think Sterling but, like, again, you have Sancho and you have Foden and you
Rashford.
have Rashford and you have DCL who could maybe slide in and play a two-strike formation. Then you drop back and play mids. It's just like it's maybe he's gonna be on the team. Is he gonna start? I'm not sure. Same thing with the goalkeeper position. Pickford has been unreal. 2019 back. I mean, you might even have to go back to 2018. But 2018 World Cup, he was insane. Before that, he was insane. Dean Henderson and Nick Pope really coming out of their shell, though, the past few years, definitely making that team. The last international break, Tom Heaton was the goalkeeper with Pickford and Pope. Then Pickford and Pope were dropped, or then Pickford and Heaton were dropped, and then it was Dean Henderson, Pope, and I can't even remember, and Sam Johnston.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't even know how the keeper situation is going to work. You have
they're all very similar on level.
They are. They're so similar. And it's the same thing with the fullbacks. You got Wan-Bissaka, you got Luke Shaw, you got Trent, you got Trippier, Reece James, all of these pretty decent fullbacks. But, like, who's going to shine? You have no idea.
No. Tough decisions before the summer comes up.
Exactly. I think really, like – I'm pretty confident that the only is the center back, CDM, and striker. There's no one else who's gonna have a solidified spot. But they scraped away with a win. I believe I watched this game. How's it slipping my mind? But I believe they scraped away with a win against Poland, 2-1 or something like that. Moder from Brighton actually scored in that game. Really good to see. And then started the next game. I've never seen him play before. And then started the next game that Brighton played. But Lewandowski was out, and Poland gave him a good run for their money, which is not good for England because with the squad depth England have, they should definitely be putting more away against the Poland team without star man up front. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens with England as the Euros come up, which I don't know about you, but I am extremely excited to see. One player two players, should I say? One's quite odd, one's pretty obvious that we won't see in the Euros are Sergio Aguero and Erling Haaland. As we all know, Argentina is not part of the European Union, And
Good
as
job.
some of you may know, Norway is not part of the European Union either.
Ooh,
So yeah,
are
so
they not? So
no,
they don't even play in the Euros?
they are not allowed to play in the Euros.
Really?
So
But
yeah,
Sweden does,
yeah. Well,
and
Sweden and Denmark,
Finland.
they're all part of the EU. Um,
Finland is
Norway
too.
like had some clash and they decided to leave the EU.
Hmm.
Kind of like Brexit, Norwegian Brexit. Not to get political on this podcast or anything, but
Yeah.
yeah. So we won't see either of those players in the Euros, but it'll give them more time to figure out where they're going to be next
Mhm.
this coming season. Both of them with big news: Aguero actually telling everyone that he is going to be leaving City at the end of the season. There are tens of, not hundreds, but there's so many suitors that want to take him, likes of PSG, Barcelona, I think
Minnesota
Bayern.
United. Just to
Reynoso
spend
called him
our
up.
whole
Reynoso was like, "Hey, yo, Serge."
yeah, great friends. That'd be incredible. Like,
It'd be unreal. We have an Aguero moment where who's our announcer? The guy who used to say
oh
like
yeah,
Darwin Quintero.
yeah, the British guy.
Yeah. Kind of an interesting voice.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of suitors for Aguero. His fee he's leaving on a free. I think his contract's up, so
I think it is free.
it's
Yeah,
hard for City. They're not going to actually get anything out of him.
yeah.
And Pep has said to the press, there is no chance we sign Holland as an Aguero replacement because, and he said, I don't know how anyone else is because Dortmund put a 160 million euro price tag on him. And Pep was
I
like,
mean, that's not
we spend,
outrageous though.
no, but Pep was like, we spend a lot of money and we don't have the funds for that after
Yeah.
coronavirus hit. The difference, Pep, if you're listening, is that other clubs haven't spent the money you've spent in the past few years. So
Yeah.
they weren't scraping the barrel as much. And I'm guessing that your Dubai friends aren't willing to put as much money in
Well,
now with all of the COVID.
yeah. I wouldn't, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if this summer, $200 million deal, Manchester City, and because there's no way. Okay, they're very capable of still getting him
Yeah.
for whatever price.
No, Pep's just like, no way.
Yeah,
But
I wonder if Pep just doesn't like him, to be honest, like his play style. Maybe
he didn't play well today against Pep. Let's just say that in the Champions League, he did not. Well, it's not that he didn't play well. He just didn't do his normal Holland thing. But yeah, lots of suitors for both of them. I think it would be really cool to see Aguero reside at Barcelona, personally.
Barcelona. Okay, I was gonna say Atletico Madrid. I know we talked about this.
The return.
Yeah, going back, I think. Imagine him and Suarez up top. It'd actually be insane. But
that would be, and João Felix in behind them. That would be really nice.
But Atletico still don't do anything with they've got a great attack, to be honest.
Really good team. Diego Simeone is one of those coaches where he's like unbelievable, but he's so good at defense. So it's just you never see an unlocked, full-flowing attack. They're just going to drill it long and hopefully get a goal off.
I mean, he'll pull off those crazy results like with Liverpool.
Exactly.
But he's not going to be –
it's not pretty.
And they're not going to be the type to go to, the final, the Champions League final or something with that same style.
Yeah, it's like if Burnley got extremely good for some odd reason.
Oh, they're the Spanish Burnley, for sure.
But way better, obviously. They have better players. But if you coach a team like Burnley is coached with Tottenham's level players or, they're not City level with that, but looking at levels of players, if you coach a team like the Burnley style, then that's what you have. But he could go back to Atletico. That would be my second favorite choice. The only reason I want to see him go to Barca is because I think Messi would stay if Aguero signed there, personally.
That's true.
And I think Messi should leave, but I don't want him to leave. It's just this thing where it's Messi is Barcelona.
Yeah.
If he leaves, they're what is the identity? And I think Barca will be better without him in the long run, 100%. It's just they need to get him out of there and start rebuilding. Rebuild around Frankie.
Yes. I don't think, and Conrad De La Fuente, but
and Serginho Dest.
Yes, I don't think I think he's leaving no matter what, even if Aguero's like, "Oh, I'll come if you stay." I think Messi just wants.
He's like, "No, don't come here."
Yeah, I think he'll be like, "Come to PSG where I'm coming."
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, Aguero, Messi, Neymar. Mbappe.
Unreal.
Like that would be
Unreal. Di Maria. Although
like
he's probably
50
getting out of
goals a
Tottenham or
game.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. Especially in League.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the possibilities for Aguero. Holland, possibilities are all around.
Looks like Barca
Yeah,
or Real Madrid.
Barca kind of want him. Man United kind of want him. PSG kind of want him. Dortmund are saying that he is, the price tag's 160 mil. His release clause doesn't activate until 2022, so he'll get signed before that.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, his price goes down by like 12 million. But who's gonna get worried about 12 million when you have to wait another year?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, again, we don't really know where he's going to arrive, but big stuff happening
Big
with
summer of
two of the
transfers.
biggest strikers, in the world right now. One
Yeah.
who's kind of winding down and one who's just getting started. Moving over to the Champions League today, we had two results. Real Madrid look like they have a pretty good head start in that tie, winning 3-1. The only advantage that Liverpool have right now is that away goal that Mo Salah scored, which is good for them. Although with their recent form at Anfield, I can confidently say that Real Madrid are through to the next round.
Well, they'll play this clip. We'll play this clip once Liverpool have a 4-0
have a historic
win.
comeback.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to see it, but it's hard. I don't think that they have the caliber to beat a team with Toni Kroos sending balls across the field like that. I mean, that was incredible.
And just the way they played, we just watched the game. They really had nothing, like no fight at all, which you usually see from Liverpool.
Yeah.
As we said, Trent had a very poor defensive game. He gave away one of the goals. And yeah, really they got that goal at the start of the first half or second half, and then almost got a second right after that. But then after that, it was all Real Madrid again, similar to the first half. And yeah, like you said, I don't really see them scoring 3 goals at Anfield.
Yeah, it will be tough. With Jurgen Klopp, anything is possible, but it will be tough. And then the other game that happens today was the Dortmund Man City game. This one's kind of reminds me of the 2014 World Cup final where you had Messi versus the machine of Germany. Now it's Holland versus the machine of Man City. And Holland actually didn't really affect this game like he normally affects Champions League games or any game for that matter. But it finished 2-1 to Man City, and Dortmund put up a really good fight, got an away goal at the Etihad, which is huge. Actually could see Dortmund pulling something off at home to get through. Marco Reus scored a nice goal off of a breakaway. Kevin De Bruyne, as usual, sending nice crosses in, nice through balls. He got on the board, and then in the 90th minute as well, he sent a really nice ball over the top, which Gundogan settled, passed it to Foden, who finished. So like I said earlier, it finished 2-1. Not too much about that game. I think that is a pretty predictable scoreline, if I'm going to be honest, considering the caliber of both teams. But a little bit surprising considering Dortmund's league form recently.
Yeah, I think, when we previewed it a couple weeks ago, we said, like, Man City would probably easily roll them over, especially without Sancho. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have expected Dortmund to score. And then once they did, you just got to keep that. You have to keep the draw, and they just gave it up like 4 minutes after they scored, and it's just like that's just a backbreaker. And going in the next game, you have to score at least one. But
they need one, and if they get,
but with Man City, they're always going to score.
Man City's gonna get an away goal,
so they're going to score. Yeah.
So you have to win 2-1 pretty much. It has to be, or then it'll go to pens. It has to be a reverse fixture pretty much, and then go to pens if I see anything out of it. I don't see Dortmund's defense holding up that long when De Bruyne's in the form that he's in. Mm-hmm. You have Foden, Jesus, Sterling, some really good players that can affect the game. There's no way they don't get on the board at least a little bit. I mean, they subbed Bernardo Silva out, and when you're subbing Bernardo Silva out and subbing Gabriel Jesus on, well, okay. you don't need to like flex on everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that pretty much concludes the wrap up for this week. We were going to go over one more thing before we end the podcast. I think it's going to be the podcast is about 30 minutes this week, so not too long. But one more thing, I don't have my phone with me. You have your phone with you. I'm pretty sure, I hope, which has the list of the 11 most stylish slash like swaggy players that we think are in the world, the starting 11 and the subs. Now, the subs consist entirely of forwards, so probably not the best idea when you're actually going into a game. But if you guys are listening right now, like listen to the lineup. Mac will read it out, going from goalkeeper to forwards, and then he'll read out the subs, and we can end it after he reads it out. And if you agree with us, if you have any opinions on it, if you think they'll do well, or if they were put into like the Premier League for a season or something like that, if you think that they do poorly because of the egos of the players, let us know. Just send us a DM, send us an email, drop it in the Discord. You know the drill. All right, let's go.
Or just like overall, when you think of like when you see a player and you're like, that guy's cool. That guy's just got style.
Did we get it right? Did we get it right?
Yeah. Is there anyone we're leaving out, or is there anyone you're like, that guy? How is he in the team? All right. So, Ter Stegen, Sergio Ramos, Virgil van Dijk, Alphonso Davies, Tyrone Mings, Pogba, Grealish, our favorite player, Frankie de Jong, James Maddison, Todd Cantwell, and Antoine Griezmann, with a subs bench of Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka, Basuma, Zaha, and Tim Weah. I think
great team.
I think that team would definitely win a couple titles. That's
that team. If you can get at least one defender and one midfielder on the bench, and maybe take Tim Weah out, maybe not.
No defense.
You need like a goalkeeper, an extra. The goalkeeper position was the hardest when I was thinking that one up.
I was seeing that.
There
I was
like no Stegen, other goalkeepers, and Ter Stegen can hit a nice side volley, so let's just throw it in there.
I mean, Neuer's got some swag, but he's a bit old now, and you're like, is he hip? You know?
Yeah.
I think Todd Cantwell is
just a bit of an odd. It's like they're a bit of an odd group. They
can't really express themselves.
No, they don't. They don't.
They can't have like a cool headband or shin guards or
exactly
whatever.
But the team's playing right now probably a 4-5-1. Griezmann is the lone striker. And a couple wingers,
Todd Cantwell pulling the strings.
My personal favorite would have to be Frankie de Jong, who was a late add to the list.
Yes,
but he is one of my favorite players in the world, and he does have style in his own right. You have to admit.
It's more the way he plays. Like he doesn't have like a lot of tattoos or anything, but the way he plays is so smooth, and you just got to respect it.
Exactly. But let us know if you have any differing opinions on players that should have been in, players that should have been left out, how the team would do if they were to play in any of the top 5 leagues or the Champions League. And we'll see you guys next week on the Zoom again. And the week after that, we should be in the studio. Can't make any promises right now because I haven't looked at the schedule, but it should be. And no matter what, I hope you guys enjoyed. Mac, I'm assuming hopes you guys enjoyed. And
no, I don't.
And we will be back next week. All right. See ya.
See ya.